Welcome back to Under Oath. I'm attorney Jeff Kaufman. This is my partner, Craig Lynd. We're going to do our best to break this down from a legal standpoint, and we're going to talk about the death of Renee Good. I refer to it as the death because every issue in a case where somebody gets run over or hurt or any scenario like that, you need to look at it from a legal standpoint. You can't just automatically assume it was a murder or it was a self-defense killing or anything. So we're going to break this down based on all the videos. That means all the videos, not just one video, not from a broadcaster's point of view, not from my opinion, not by my religious or political beliefs, but from what the facts are in the case and our legal opinions based on that. I'm sure you've seen the videos, Craig.
I've seen multiple videos from multiple angles. And I can't, you know what's irritating about social media nowadays is you can't ever get just the clean video without somebody talking over it.
Yeah.
You always have to hear someone's opinion and their slant while it's going on.
Or there are
a lot of times I turn the volume off and just try and watch.
What I hate about it is the more videos you see and the more facts you get, you realize how wrong everyone is. Oh, this person was here because of this. This person was not doing anything. This person was minding their own business. This person came from here. This person lived here and moved here. This person, by the time you get the full story, it's no longer news. It very rarely is right in the first hour because we don't get it.
It's almost always wrong in the first hour.
It's painful.
You're never going to understand what's happening in the first hour.
Now, I've seen 7 different videos. And like I said, you're right. I'm so sick of listening to people talk over it. And then everyone's there in pressure. Oh, they were backing up. They didn't move forward. They didn't do this. They didn't do that. I'm going, hold on. How about we just try to figure this out without spin? We can't do it. It's impossible. Hell, you and I had an argument before we started this because I said to you, listen, we are going to take whatever feelings we have out of this and base it solely on what we have. And not information. There's information out there that when Trump got elected, they got mad and moved to Canada. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know if she was married. They're telling me she's married. I don't know. I got to base it on what I see.
Well, yeah, you have to find a news source that you find trustworthy, which is a monumental task nowadays after everything we've been through for the last 4 or 5 years.
I don't think we look for something we trust. We don't look for something we trust. We look for something that has our side.
Yeah, and it's not a coincidence. I just watched a football game last night, and the people I was watching the football game with, we all had a different opinion on what we saw. Some of us saw a guy make a catch inbounds, and some of us saw a guy make a catch that was out of bounds. And whether the video didn't change, the placement of the guy's foot didn't change. The only thing that was different is which team we wanted to win.
Yeah.
That's how we saw that foot. That's how you see this video. What team do you want to win? If you want a particular team to win, you can find something in the video that's going to support your side.
The fact is that this did not happen by accident. This car was parked there about 3 minutes in the middle of the road. The intention was a protest. This is determined because when Rebecca Good confronts the ICE officer who wound up shooting her wife, she said, "You'll see me later. Don't worry about the plates. We don't change our plates out, and you'll see me. You'll see the same plate later.
When you come talk to me tomorrow, it'll still be the same plate." Some words to that effect. Later. I saw the video as well.
So it's not an accident. They were there. The wife didn't just show up. They arrived in the car together, and the intention was to do something, not to drop a child off, not to see a neighbor, but to involve themselves in a dispute. Now, whether
they weren't naturally there. They're not driving to or from a friend's house. They went specifically to block that road, and they were blocking that road specifically to protest.
I don't know their purpose. I can assume by what they said, but the fact is they're intentionally blocking the road, and there are about 5 videos on it. The first 4 I watched, I wasn't sure what I was seeing. Some of them were grainy, some were bad, but then you see it's clear that the officer is hit. Okay.
You don't really see it that well until you see his angle, his body cam footage. Some of the other videos, you can make an argument that he wasn't hit.
Yeah.
And that's what's scary.
And he drops an F-bomb after getting hit, and he calls her name. And you and I had an argument about that because
it's unfortunate, but doesn't change whether or not his actions were justified.
What I'm saying is that the most natural responses came out of Rebecca Good, which is Renee's wife, and the officer. Rebecca Good is extremely combative. She says some ridiculously negative thing, calls him big boy, tells him, go get lunch, big boy. We'll be back, everything else. And then Rebecca Good screams, drive, drive.
Was it reasonable for that officer to think that Miss Good was going to drive as her wife is yelling at her to drive?
She drove.
She did drive.
Now, so that we're clear, Rebecca Good arrived with Renee Good to this road for no other purpose than to block the road. I don't want to make this assumption, but you see Rebecca Good trying to enter the car, and the door's locked. Now, the door wasn't locked when they pulled up because she got out of the car. And these are the things you have to pay attention to when you look at something, and you have to start evaluating this. And this is what attorneys do. For example, when you and I, if this was our case, and let's say somebody decided to sue.
Our case, who are we representing in this?
Either person. We would have to stare at every form of this video.
All right. Well,
and break it down piece by piece by piece.
If I'm representing Miss Good, I'll tell you facts that do not help. And that is the officer was in front of the car before it was placed into drive. He didn't, after the car was put in drive and start moving, he didn't move into the path of the car. That's not good for Miss Good. Well, that's sort of double entendre there. That's not great for Miss Good's case. He was where he's authorized to be there. They're trying to effectuate an arrest. He's allowed to be there. She's not allowed to disobey the commands of the officer.
Renee Good is looking directly at the officer in front of her car. She didn't by accident not see him. She's staring directly at him before her wife goes, drive, drive. She pulls it out of reverse, puts it into drive, and goes to peel off. Now, did she intend to hit him? I don't know if an officer can make that decision. If he thinks that she could be turning, that she might not hit him. But if you're standing in front of the car...
Well, here's the thing on that, Jeff.
That's a tough choice.
You're not allowed to put an officer in a position where he has to make that decision. You're not allowed to put an officer in fear of his life that, I wonder, is she going to hit me? He doesn't have to wait until he's hit. He can take defensive action immediately. Where we are in this country where someone thinks that, okay, I don't have to get out of the car when law enforcement is telling me to get out of the car. This is as much the media's problem as it is anybody else's. They show things like this and make it sound like she didn't do anything wrong.
I don't believe it's the intention of any network to show you the truth. I think they cater to their audience and they cater to eyeballs. So whether it be, let's say Fox News going, this radical person to get people to listen, or CNN saying that these fascist people did it, they're catering to their audience and they're not catering to the truth. Nobody is.
It's like the football analogy I gave. It very much depends on whose team you want to win, determines what you see.
We are at a troubling point right now. And the answer is a scary one. And I'm gonna say it, and I don't like it because it goes against a lot of things I hold dear. And that is this. We have to stop caring. That is the only way we can even have a chance of finding the truth, because we care in biased ways based on what we want. This is about people being ordered to do a job and a group of people believing it's their job to get in the way of that. And when that happens, bad things are going to happen. And this woman's life did not have to be thrown away over.
Can I throw an opinion in here? This has been building for a long time. And there's lots and lots of people who could have been arrested for interfering with the operations that were going on. And they just weren't. And it's really kind of, I hate to say it's ICE's fault or law enforcement's fault, but what do you expect to happen if you don't arrest them when they do something wrong, even though it's minor? They're just going to keep escalating the behavior until they force you to shoot them or arrest them. So go ahead and arrest them early. If these folks had been arrested at their third or fourth ICE protest for interfering, do you think they would have pulled their car and blockaded the road like that? I don't think so. I think they would say, you know what? Let's go protest, which is absolutely their right to do. Go protest, but don't impede the work of law enforcement. Protest on the sidewalk, get your signs out, yell and scream anything you want. You're an American, you're allowed to do that. That's great. I want you to do that. But you can't block the road.
The sad part about this is her child was in school. Her 6-year-old child is in school while this couple is, deciding to get involved. And I think when it comes down to it, I don't think they thought about their child. Before I make an action or choose something, I do think about the effect it will have on my kid. If I choose to quit my job, I won't be able to pay for my kid. If I do something wrong, I get arrested, I won't be able to take care of my kid. In this situation, now you have a 6-year-old without a parent. The argument will be, well, she was doing it for her child's future. This was senseless and stupid.
Protesting is a great American pastime, especially lately, and we want you to be able to do it. But don't go and put yourself in a position where you're trying to be a martyr. Like, obviously, you want to call attention to something that you think is very important. The whole idea of you blocking the road is to force law enforcement to encounter you. You want them to arrest you. That's the thing that you're going to be able to use to change society. You want to be arrested. You want for people to see that you got arrested doing this. So if you're going to go and have these protests to make these points, the whole idea, the reason you're doing it is to be arrested. When they come and arrest you, don't run. Get out of the car and say, yes, I'm being arrested. I'm being arrested for fighting for what I believe in. That's what you need to say.
All right, big question. As lawyers, will the surviving spouse, Rebecca Good, have a case against the federal government for a civil rights violation? Because that's what this is. They have to sue under civil rights.
Probably not. There is layer upon layer of immunities for particularly federal law enforcement. Qualified immunity, sovereign immunity, and they would have to meet a lot of exceptions to even have a hope of withstanding the first motion to dismiss. So let's say they file something in court. The government's going to challenge it right away. And when they do, because they forced the situation, is going to disqualify them from any of the exceptions that would allow them to bring. Now, if the officer had shot at Miss Good and missed Miss Good, and let's say she was driving away and the officer decided, you know what, I'm still going to continue to fire my gun, even though there's other people standing behind. Now, the people who got shot as he was shooting at her trying to flee, if you can make the argument that he put those people in danger recklessly, those folks would have a good argument.
Currently, based on my preliminary research on this, I've done research. The only case that basically ruled in favor against the immunity was a 1971 ruling, Bivens versus 6 unnamed known agents. And it dealt with a Fourth Amendment issue. And since then, it's been whittled down. It's almost impossible. So I think even in a case, I think that might work in state court if it was a state police officer. But I think federal officers are still going to be protected because the Supreme Court in the last, 50 years have made it almost impossible to go after the federal government in cases like this. So I don't think based on what we're looking at, based on anything we've seen, and based on the difficulty of cracking immunity, that they can go anywhere. But that's what lawyers are for.